Welcome to Free and On the Road. Thank you guys for all of your support. I really appreciate all of your likes, follows, shares, subscribes. Today we're going to be talking about the Bodum Bistro Electric Burr Grinder. This is a budget-friendly burr grinder. I did a little bit of research into it after I got gifted this. This was actually gifted by Bodum. And I haven't tried it yet. I haven't even unboxed it yet. So we're going to try it out. We're going to try a couple different methods. From what I read about it, I don't think that it'll go fine enough for our espresso machine, but it would be a great option for somebody who, let's say, uses AeroPress or French press or cold brew, or maybe you make your own drip coffee. So anyway, before we get started, make sure that you hit the bell below and subscribe to my channel. Every subscription that you do helps me grow so I can continue to do these reviews and these fun tutorials. I do have 2 tutorials coming out this next couple weeks. One of them will be honing in our shots, what it looks like and how the pressure gauge looks on our Brevel Barista machine when it's too fine or when the grind is too coarse. So that'll be coming up next. And then I did promise that we're going to do a Brevel Barista maintenance video, and that one will be coming out after that. I actually was going to do it a couple weeks ago when it needed it, but when I went to Canada, a lot of you guys know that we had to go back to get all of our storage stuff out of Canada. When I went up there, my son actually had done the maintenance of the machine for me, so I've kind of been pushing it off since it already got done. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. We'll go ahead and unbox this Bodum grinder. In the box, you're going to find quick steps on how to use your new coffee grinder. So it says, you are now a proud owner. All right, let's see what it looks like. It's always so fun to get new equipment for the kitchen, like any new equipment. I am super duper excited. We actually just got, I'll show you this. We just got, you see this wall here where I have a partial pantry that's kind of broken and a table with all of our snacks sitting there? Well, our son is doing a construction program at ICTC in Oklahoma here, and they actually are building us cabinets. So I just got those cabinets measured for getting built this week. So that will be getting done in the next couple weeks, and I'm super excited, and you guys will start seeing a transformation back there. My coffee station is actually getting built to be over there. Sorry, I messed up the camera when I moved it. Let me just fix it so I don't cut my head off. Anyway, we're going to get my coffee station moved over there. So this counter will be a clean working space, which I'm super excited about. Hopefully it still works for recording in the corner. I think there'll be enough light there. We'll see. All right. So when you pull out your machine, this is what it looks like. Has a little tape on here, so we'll take that off. I probably should have figured out how to use it before, but I mean, like, what's the fun of doing a review together if we can't try it out together, right? I think what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and grind some coffee for a cold brew batch, because I have been needing to do that. And we will also grind some coffee for an AeroPress, and then we'll try put it on the finest setting and see how fine that comes out compared to our Brevel fine, and see if that's fine enough for espresso. Let's see what it says here. It says, let's see what it says, that if it says what coffee it grades for. Safeguards. No, it doesn't. Okay, here we go. Settings and grinding. It just says fine. So it says it's for espresso coffee machines. So maybe what we'll do is try it at the finest grind and do some espresso. It's going to be a pain because it's going to be in this little container instead of here. But we will try it 3 ways and see if it works all 3 ways, and then that will complete our review, and we'll drink lots of coffee because that's what we do here. Let's get started. All right, guys, just bear with me while I get my life together here. All right. First, I want to give a big, huge shout out to our sponsor, Epicurean Specialty Coffee. They are an organic, single origin roasted coffee. The roast we're going to use today is their Love Roast. Their Love Roast is a bold roast. It is absolutely one of my favorite roasts. This is chocolate almond citrus malt is their flavor profile of this roast. That's what we're going to be using. We're going to go ahead and get started. I am going to put it on the finest grind setting first, and we're going to actually try to pull a shot of espresso with it and see how it goes. So normally when we use our Breville, I have everything set in and I know exactly like how long my shots are. I've never used this grinder before. It has the settings on it. All right, so the machine has a bunch of different settings. I think it's like 12 settings. There is their fine setting, and then it goes to medium, and then you can keep going to a coarse setting. I've never used this machine, so I don't know exactly how coarse their coarse will be or how fine their fine will be. So we're going to go ahead and start all the way at the fine setting. We're going to go ahead and put enough coffee in here for 1 shot of espresso. So if you remember what that is, it is 18 grams. So we're going to actually measure it out today. I normally just put it in my hopper of the Breville, but we're going to measure it out today to make sure that we have the correct amount. So to measure it out, I'm actually going to just use one of my cortado cups on my scale, and I'm going to go ahead and do 18 grams. Okay, 18 grams. All right, so I'm going to take that 18 grams and I'm going to put it into this grinder. The grinder has the hopper, and this is where the grinds are going to come out. We will put the lid on and we'll grind it. Or not. Okay. Oh, all right, guys. There is an on-off switch, so we will turn it on, and then we'll grind it. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get that ground up, and then we're going to try to pull a shot of espresso with that. I'm super excited to see how this does because I've only ever used the Breville grinder. I do love Burr grinders. So it just has a stop-start feature, so since I put the right amount in there, I'm just going to stop it. That might be kind of annoying. Like if I'm doing coffee for a coffee pot on my other grinder, I like the fact that I can just set it to how much beans I want and it'll just grind it. This grinder container I see is pretty small, so it would work good for I think it would work good for things like this where it's like single serve espresso, or it'll work good for like small batches of coffee. But if you're going to do a big pot of coffee, I mean, that would be really hard to fit it in there. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get that espresso in there, hopefully not making too much of a mess. It looks like it actually came out pretty fine. We'll see if it's fine enough when we run it through this machine here. Do all of our little steps. When it ground it up, it actually made it nice and powdery. It doesn't look quite as fine as what the Breville did. We will see when it pulls through the machine how it pulls how it pressurizes the espresso range, okay? Go ahead and get that tamped down. All right. Okay, I haven't used my espresso machine yet. I may actually use it earlier this morning, but I want to make sure the head is nice and warm now. So I run a test, or not a test, what do you call that? I ran hot water through it. I run an espresso shot through it. Okay, so we'll go ahead and put that in there. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and reset our scale. And then we're going to pull, oh, I turned it off. All right, we're going to go ahead and reset our scale. And then we're going to pull a double shot. Okay, it doesn't sound like it's pressurizing up. It's pulling it. It's pulling it a little too fast. You can see the pressure gauge. Let's see if I can show you. The pressure gauge barely went up. And it's already at 60 grams, and that was only 22 seconds. That pulled way too fast, way too fast. Look at that. Look how much there is. That was only at 22 seconds. So for the Bodum, you can see it has a little bit of crema, but it obviously just came flowing out of the machine. So we definitely cannot do it fine enough for our espresso machine. Okay, review 1. do not use the Bodum Burr Grinder in your Breville machine. All right. So that's one thing that we've marked off our list of things not to use this for. All right, next we're gonna do an AeroPress. Now I noticed the fine was fine, but it wasn't as fine as my espresso. So now I'm gonna debate on what I kind of want it to be. So I think normally when I do my AeroPress, I do it fairly fine. Actually, on my other grinder that I use, I go all the way fine on it because I like my AeroPress really dark. That looks a little finer than what I did. So I'm going to actually put it down 2 notches. So I'm going to put it on. I'm actually going to go from the fine setting and then I'm going to go 2 notches down. 1, 2. And we're going to try that. Get that in there. It is kind of hard to feel. It's kind of hard to feel it when you get it in those notches. They don't like, they don't like it. I don't know how to say it. It doesn't like click in really easily. Like you can feel it click, but it doesn't click in super easily. All right. So this particular grinder does not have a way of measuring or doesn't measure out how much it grinds. It just grinds till it's done. So what I'm going to do for my AeroPress, is I am going to use the AeroPress scooper so I can scoop the right amount of coffee in there. All right. So we're going to do, I normally do 2 scoops of ground coffee for my AeroPress. So we're going to go ahead and put 2 scoops in there. I think I got everything together. I think I got my water boiling and everything. All right. So we're going to go ahead and put the lid on that. I feel like this lid isn't very, it's not very airtight, so I wouldn't leave beans in this grinder if I were to get this one. Me personally, if this was a grinder I were to get, I would just put in there what I need that day. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and grind that coffee for the AeroPress. While that's grinding, we're gonna go ahead and get our AeroPress ready. I have my water getting ready to boil. All right, I was gonna do it like that, but that doesn't work. You gotta use this. All right, it's almost done grinding, so I don't have to yell over it. We'll let that finish. You can hear it's done grinding, so I'm going to go ahead and stop it. All right, I want to show you a couple things. On my AeroPress, a lot of people talk about AeroPress and inverting their AeroPress so that the coffee can get steep properly. So I actually got this really cool control flow filter. You can get it on Amazon. I'll put it in my links. But this actually has like a suction cup in it. So when you pour your water into your AeroPress, it doesn't drip right through. So I don't have to invert it. So it makes it a lot easier to do your AeroPress without having to work with like hot water and then trying to invert it. And when your AeroPresses get a little bit older, because I mean, let's be honest, I was using the same AeroPress for like 13 years before I finally replaced mine. And the rubber starts getting, after 13 years, guys, you probably should replace them. But the rubber starts not being as tight. So when you go to press it in, it kind of leaks out. And when you try to invert it, it leaks all over you. So this is a cheap and easy way to make it easier for you to make your AeroPress. All right. So I have a handy dandy Starbucks cup. They actually have all of their Starbucks cups. When you get them like this, they feel so homey. That's why I love them. And everybody in my family knows that I collect them. My goal is that when I have my coffee station, I can have all the places that I've been with my Starbucks cups. But we're going to make, I guess it's going to be an AeroPress Americano in our homey Starbucks mug. All right, so I have my AeroPress. I have my ground coffee, which this should be 2 scoops because we measured it before. My little handy dandy AeroPress thing. Okay, so we'll put our, that actually looks pretty. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that there? That looks pretty fine. I mean, we'll see if it was too fine for the AeroPress. This Epicurean Love smells so good, guys. And don't forget that if you want to try Epicurean coffee, if you use the code ONTHEROAD30, we will give you 30% off your order. That is an amazing deal for organic specialty coffee. Anyway, all right. My water is almost ready. While we're waiting for the water, I'm actually going to adjust my grind so that we can start getting ready for our cold brew. So when I do cold brew, I do 4 cups of coffee to 8 cups of water, and that's how I do my cold brew. So I think my other grinder, the one thing I like about it is I can just set it to 16 and hit start, and that's 2 cups. I don't think that this could hold 16. So I'm going to try 1 cup and see if that'll fit. I don't want my cold brew to be quite as fine. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my grinder right up, wrong direction, turn my grinder right up to coarse, but I also don't want it all the way coarse because I feel like when I do my cold brew, it'll be too much if I go all the way coarse. So I'm going to go down, we're going to go down 3 dots from the coarsest. All right, push that to the side. And let's do our AeroPress. All right, so for the AeroPress, our water is ready. I always take my water to 200. Anywhere between 180 or 190 and 200 is about where I like it. So we'll go ahead and pour, I don't need this one here. Go ahead and pour that in for our AeroPress. That coffee smells delicioso. I don't know where my little AeroPress mixer thing is. I have one somewhere, but I mean, anything works. So we will let that mix. Oh, smells so good. And then I let this steep for 3 minutes. Some people do 4. You do you. 3-minute timer. As my son always says, you do you, boo. Anyway, 3 minutes. We will let that steep. And while that is steeping, we will go ahead and put in a cup of our Epicurean coffee into the grinder. All right. And here goes. We'll see after this cup if it was ground, if I like the grind or not on it. Oh, so 1 cup. That was a perfect grind amount. I mean, a grind thickness. 1 cup was almost too much in this thing. So you can see that's 1 cup of coffee in there. My other grinder will hold 2 cups easily. So that does make it a little bit more tricky if you need to do more coffee. So we'll go ahead and put that first cup in for the cold brew. It does look fairly even. I'll show you a little close up here. So it does, you can see the grinds on. Try to get that so you can see it in the light. I'm going to use the other camera. All right, you can see the grinds on here and how they are fairly even. There are some that are a little finer, but they are fairly even. And that is one good thing about a burr grinder is that your grinds are going to be more even. Okay, so that kind of made a mess. 1 cup was too much for this grinder. Do you see this? All of those grinds were up inside there. So I am only going to do half a cup at a time. Which kind of sucks because, I mean, a lot of people that are grinding their own coffee are going to do their own thing like cold brew or whatever. So we're just going to do a half a cup at a time. So we'll go ahead and do the next. We'll do a half a cup. You got to open it, guys. Look at this mess. All right, we're going to do another half a cup. Okay. So this kind of is messy. All right, we're going to go ahead and pour that half a cup in. My watch is going off, and I was like, that's really weird because I put it on Do Not Disturb today. Ha! It was my timer. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put that half a cup in there, and then we will press our AeroPress. We are going to let this grind while we're pressing our AeroPress. 2 things at once. That's how you know I'm a mom. All right. Get that yummy goodness pressed out of there. I'm actually really excited for this cup of coffee. I do espresso so much during the week because it's so easy to use my espresso machine. I forget about my AeroPress. And my AeroPress coffee is actually one of my favorite ways to just sit down and have a cup of coffee. So yeah, my timer is still going off. I should probably stop that. All right, almost done pressing this down. This is why I work out, guys. This is why I work out. All right. Smells good. All right. All right. All right, so to make to make an AeroPress Americano, you first push your 4 shots of coffee into your cup, and then you'll top it off with water. I do like a 1-to-1 ratio, so I don't know if you can see. Excuse the mess on the counter. That's just the grinder making a disaster. Anyway, I don't know if you can see this, but I do have about a half a cup of coffee in there, or AeroPress coffee in there, and I'm just going to top it with water, and that'll be more like the consistency of an Americano or a drip coffee. So if you're wanting to make like a drip type coffee with AeroPress, this is the best way to do it. I love it black. I love these cups because they're handy. The grind on it was perfect. So, I mean, if you're using it for something like AeroPress, this is a perfect little grinder that you can get in your house. I'm pretty sure when I looked into it, they're actually very cost effective. I think they're only like $60. So if you're going from using ground coffee and you just want to up your game a little bit to do some ground coffee at home, to get whole bean coffee and grind it at home, this is an awesome option. Actually, I think it's not a great option if you're wanting to do espresso like we discussed in the first segment, but it's definitely a good option for that. All right, so we're going to put this second. So I've learned, tap the machine, then everything that's in the machine will come down. Okay, so this will be officially our second cup of coffee because I did another half cup. So the Burr grinder, this particular Burr grinder can only grind a half cup at a time. It can hold more, but if I do that, it's not going to be pre-measured. So I'm pre-measuring it so I can actually have. Okay, so we'll do another half cup. I almost hit the start button without putting this back in. That would have been a catastrophe. I wonder if it'll work. Let's see if it'll work. Okay, folks, it works. That was for your enjoyment. I wanted to see. My other grinder that I own has a safety feature that if the bucket isn't in, it actually won't start. This grinder does not have that safety feature. So be sure you put your basket in. While that's grinding, I don't want to waste any of my good coffee grinds. So I wiped my counter, I promise. But I'm going to put this into my cold brew container because I just shot a whole bunch of it on the counter. You should see how many coffee grinds my vacuum vacuums up. It's great. Okay, so that was 2.5. So my review on this is if you're making cold brew, either do way smaller batches of cold brew so it doesn't take so long to grind it all, or don't use it for cold brew. I think that this grinder, in my opinion, is perfect for everyday use. Like if you're going to be using an AeroPress or a French press, or even if you're going to be doing drip coffee, this would be a good option. People always ask me, like, what is the first thing that I recommend when they're trying to up their coffee game? My first thing that I recommend is getting a really good coffee. Okay, so that's my first recommendation. So my first recommendation is get something like this Epicurean specialty coffee. Dude, I think I lost count. I think that was 3 cups. Anyway, it's normally about a whole bag of Epicurean, so I'm probably just going to finish that bag at this point. Anyway, what I was trying to say was when you're upping your game in the coffee world, the first step is going from a store-bought ground coffee to a fresh whole bean. So this Epicurean, you can get it 30% off. But if you don't want to order your coffee, some people don't like ordering online, go to your local coffee shop. There's a lot of local coffee shops. I do support local coffee shops as well, even though Epicurean is my sponsor and I highly recommend getting their coffees. I like having a variety in my coffee. So I do have a local coffee here. This one is called Fort Smith Coffee Co. This is actually right here in Fort Smith, Arkansas. They're right across the border from us. When I lived in Canada, I used to love this roaster. I actually used to get it drop shipped to my house when I moved to Alberta because they're from Saskatchewan, and it's Caliber coffee. I brought this back, and I've given it to my son and my best friend, and she absolutely loves it. She can't believe how good it tastes. And then I actually got this one when I was traveling from Wyoming. So I do support a lot of small roasters, and my biggest tip would be get good coffee. That will really make or break your game. Yeah. All right. I'm going to go ahead and put the rest of this in here. It doesn't seem like it'll overflow, and that should be enough for my cold brew. This coffee is like, it's, they don't over roast it, so it's nice and dry, but it's kind of flaky when you're working with it, so it kind of makes a mess sometimes. But that's okay. I mean, what's the point of doing coffee videos if I can't drink coffee while I'm doing it? All right. So I think that that's going to kind of conclude my review on this Bodum grinder. Let's go ahead and look at, before we close out this video, if you want to know how I make my cold brew, now all I do, now that I have 4 cups of coffee in there, I'm just going to put some filtered water into this jug and then let it sit 24 hours. If you really want to know how to make the cold brew, I do have some cold brew tutorials out there. I just am showing you the grinding today. All right, I'm going to turn this machine off. Let's see if this, okay, this is what I wanted to see. All right, guys, I'm going to show you some of this stuff. All right, so if you want to clean this machine, it looks like it's fairly simple. It's a fairly straightforward process. All I did was I screwed this top off, and then there is the burr grinder down there. And if you have a very oily coffee, you're going to want to brush that out on a regular basis. I'm going to actually show you, man, you guys, I made a disaster. My kids love it when I make a mess because they always come and help me clean it. Okay, so I have this handy dandy little brusher that came with my Breville machine, and so I would take this brusher and just kind of go like this, and that will help get all those loose grinds and everything out of your machine. I'll show you when we do the Breville one, actually how we do that on the Breville as well, because that is actually super important to do that. So you can see, just so you know, I unplugged this and turned it off, so I'm not going to hurt myself. As you can see, it made a total disaster of it. You see all the grinds everywhere. I think it's because I did so many grinds. If you were just to do like a one grind thing, I think you'd be fine. So you can just brush all of that out. Me personally, to be totally honest, I probably won't be using this grinder only because I have one that's a little bit, has a little more features on it. So I'm actually going to be gifting this to one of my viewers since I got it for free. Since I got this donated, I want to share it with one of you. I still have the box that it's in. So I will do a giveaway for this Bodum grinder. Did you see all that coffee that came out? I just cleaned it and then all that coffee came out. You guys, this thing made a mess. I made a mess. I would love to gift this grinder to one of my viewers. I'm actually going to talk to Epicurean Coffee, and I will gift you a bag of Epicurean coffee with this Bodum grinder. And all you have to do, we will do it for, let's see, what month are we in? I got to clean all this out so whoever gets this doesn't have 10 million grinds in it. And then I'm going to have to vacuum my whole counter. Anyway, so we will do a giveaway, and we will give the grinder away and a bag of Epicurean coffee. And all you have to do is comment below. At the end of October, we will announce the winner. I will announce the winner because, I mean, really, we is me. I will announce the winner. You're going to have a little bit of coffee grinds in there when you get this. It was used one time on this show, folks. you will receive an entry, and we will do a live drawing, because since you guys all shared so much, I am now over 50 followers on YouTube, and I can do it live on YouTube. So we will do a live drawing. We will do it on, let me check the calendar, and I can tell you a day that we can do it on. We'll do it on October 31st. I will mail you this grinder and a bag of Epicurean coffee so you can try good coffee in your house, in your kitchen. And yeah, I'm super excited. So that will be our giveaway for the Bodum grinder that I reviewed today. I'm really excited about that. Thank you so much for watching Free and On the Road. I appreciate all of your support. Please like, share, follow, and make sure you subscribe. And yeah, keep on brewing.